Hey, folks. Hi, we've got a few more people that we're letting in here. Hey guys, if you've got cameras and you want to come and switch on your cameras, feel free. Goodness me, we've got more in the waiting room. Let's let you all in. Hey, there we go. I'm starting to see some faces. Hey, Aaron, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. Hey, Chris, how you going?
Good. How are you?
Wonderful, thanks. I'm just going to let Mario in. Jean, great to see you. Vlad, Steve, all these familiar faces. That's awesome, guys. All right, just while we wait for a few more, because invariably with these things, and apologies that I was 2 minutes late, guys, I was just wrapping up another call. Invariably with these things, we have people join 5 or 10 minutes in. So let's just quickly and whilst I get this set up to Facebook as well, just put in the chat where you guys are calling in from today. Steve Lees, it looks like you're calling in from the Arctic with your background.
Lights.
Hey, Mario, good to see you. Let me just put the live stream to Facebook on. Corianne, where's everyone calling in from whilst I get this set up?
Got Dallas, Texas, Phoenix, Arizona. Ooh, the hot places. Then we got Block Island, Rhode Island, Henderson, Texas, fun spot. Paris, France. Okay, you win today. And Steve Lees is hanging out in Michigan.
Excellent. Awesome. And I'm coming in live from Sarasota, Florida. Let's just get the live stream up and running, guys. So as we go through this today, as per all these calls, guys, we like to keep it really open and encouraging and collaborative. So if you've got any questions as you go, make sure you pop them in the chat box. For anyone that's now seeing us on Facebook Live, please just go to mc.masterclass. What's our address again, Corianne? Hold on, let me pop it in here. mc.superchargedoffers.com/masterclass. And if you go to that link, it will let you straight into the Zoom where we're meeting everybody here today. So awesome. Alrighty, folks, let's jump in. First of all, I just want to introduce our wonderful guest speakers today, both Aaron and Chris. And guys, we are recording this, so we'll get this out to everyone else that also had some interest in this today but couldn't attend the session too. So Aaron and Chris, I'd love for you guys to just come on and introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit more, first of all, about your journey with vacant land, and then what led you to create AI land deals, and then we'll get into the fun stuff around what this platform can do to help people with market research. By the way, guys, as we're going through this, Corianne might ping you as a private message just to check in and say hi and see how you're going with your current land deals as well. So if you do get a PM there from Corianne, that'll be her just checking in to say hello. Aaron, why don't we start with you? Tell us a little bit more about your background, your land experience, and what got you collaborating with Chris on this.
Yeah. Thanks for inviting us, AJ. We really appreciate it. Yeah, so
being
Chris and
here.
we got into land investing in 2022. So we're over, just over 3 years into the business. We still run the business, love the business. I mean, it allowed us to break free from our W-2, which was a medical device sales. Both Chris and I, that's where we met. We were doing it for 15 years for J&J, selling plates and screws, working in the operating room, on call nights and weekends.
Wow.
I mean, it's a lifestyle. And Chris ran into a rep in the hospital lounge, and he said, "Hey, I started flipping land and I made 50 grand in 6 months." Okay, you got our attention, right? And so he was telling us about the land profit generator coaching program. Chris and I went down that rabbit hole, ended up joining, did the 1 year one-on-one coaching. It was awesome. And it helped propel us to this venture that we launched just 2 months ago. So it's been incredible.
Love it. That's fantastic. And how many deals do you reckon you've done in that time, Aaron?
Over 100. I mean, we'll do 30 to 50 a year.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So we
Awesome.
ended up netting like 100 grand our first year. It was a partial year. We're just learning how to do the business. It showed us proof of concept.
Yep.
And then it allowed us, to quit our W-2s and go all in. So
fantastic. And might I say, you joined at a good time. Like 2022 was a pretty good bumper season when it comes to vacant land. And I can see Chris nodding his head as I'm saying that too. You know, there's definitely been since then, the market's done a little bit of this. So we'll talk to you guys about how you've ridden the waves of the market as well. But Chris, I guess your story is pretty similar, but Chris, would love to hear from you and a little bit more about your background and journey into land.
Yeah, I like Aaron said, Aaron, I knew each other from, and we're good friends at 18 years. I just got to a point, I've got a wife, I've got a now 11-year-old boy. We got to a point like 4 years ago or so where, my son started getting into sports, wanted me to coach and be there at his games, and being on call nights and weekends and 24 hours a day just is not conducive to family life or really any.
Yeah,
My wife and I had started discussing, what other things can you do to not work 8+ hours a week and miss all of his games or half of them and not being able to coach and things like that. So, like Aaron said, I ran into a colleague of mine who does land flipping, and we were intrigued and started it together in 2022 and have never looked back. So we've both been able to leave that W-2 job with Johnson and Johnson and work from home now, or work out of town even when I'm with my family if need be. And it's been awesome. We started a little over 3 years ago and have scaled and have several VAs now and still run the business as well as this new endeavor. So it's been an
that's
awesome
awesome,
ride,
Chris.
and I've loved every minute.
Yeah, I love that. And I always say, especially when I'm running certain masterclasses and stuff, I always say, no matter what business you're in, we all tend to get into business for ourselves for three main reasons, and they're three freedoms. We all want time freedom, financial freedom, and location freedom. And it sounds like you guys have now been able to get all three of those. So huge kudos and congratulations to you guys, because it's not easy, right? I always say, if it was super easy, everyone would be doing it, but it requires a lot of commitment and dedication and learning and changing and adapting and failing and learning again. All of those things come to create those businesses that are self-sustaining. So well done, guys. So walk us through, what is, at a high level concept, because obviously I've had the inside scoop on this as well. At a high level concept, what is AI Land Deals and why did you guys create it?
Yeah, so AI land deals, when we first started in the business a little over 3 years ago, we found kind of our two biggest pain points early on were market selection being number one, what areas, what counties to target to. You hear different things in coaching programs and paths of growth and sell-through rates and things like that. And we just found ourselves spending hours combing through Zillow and Redfin and trying to figure out exactly where to market to. And so we spent a lot of time doing that. And number two, we spent a lot of money on marketing, just kind of wastefully throwing away money at leads that may have not come to fruition, areas that were not great areas. And so about a year ago, a little over a year ago, Aaron and I launched or started developing AI land deals. And high level, what it does is it takes the guesswork out of market selection. So we 2 years when we first started this journey, we started talking to sellers. Sellers really are put into almost two categories, if you will. One, the seller knows exactly what their property is worth, knows the market value, and wants something similar to it, right? And then you have the seller that, lives out of state, has back taxes, inherited the property, doesn't want the property anymore. And those are the sellers in this business that you tend to be able to, acquire their property, sell the property, and get under contract and flip it. And so with that particular seller, we started asking early on, like, in our conversations, what are you looking for in, for your property? And a lot of times we would hear people say, well, we get a tax statement once a year and the county assessed value is X amount of dollars, call it $20,000. And so early on in our business, started really targeting areas that the assessed value was 20,000, where the market values were 35,000 or 40,000.
Nice.
So high level AI land deals, what it does is it shows you those margins in counties and zip codes, every county and zip code throughout the United States, of market value to assessed value, and those margins and differences.
I love that. And here's the reasons why I love this, guys. Corianne, how many times a week do you think you and I get asked the question, where should I market to?
Oh, all the time.
All the time.
Multiple times
I'm
a week.
talking
Yeah.
day. I love this because Mario's laughing, because I know you and I both had this exact conversation with Mario about where should I market? And
He's one of the
traditionally, guys,
perpetrators.
like, so traditionally, guys, as well, I know when I spoke to you, Aaron and Chris, early on, I did the Land Profit Generator program like 9 years ago now. And so all the teachings in there and all the teachings in a lot of the other programs out there is to do exactly what you just said, Chris. Jump on Redfin, jump on Zillow, look at sell-through rates, look at days on market, combine all of this analysis and then try and do some marketing to it. And what we really love about what you guys are doing is you're not doing the marketing per se, but you're helping people to make those decisions, which is huge. Because then if we can then work with those people to say, all right, you've now got the intel, now we know where we're marketing, what we're marketing to, and what that offer is going to start to look like. That's huge. So I, again, commend you guys for coming up with this. There's also something like when we provide sales reports to a lot of our customers, we are doing what we call market variance. So market variance, again, is another tool, if you like, where we're saying if assessed value is here, but things are selling here, what's that market variance difference? So if assessed value is here, is the market selling at like 120, 130% above that? Now, what I love about what you guys are doing and what I just said is a lot of people out there get told to ignore assessed value. Would you guys agree?
Yep.
They're like, assessed value, it's just a number that the county comes up with. It doesn't really mean anything. But I always say it does mean something if you use it as a data point to get to another decision. And that's exactly what 100%. You guys have done, right? So I love it. Aaron, looks like you were going to talk there.
Yeah, it's an anchor point that you can reflect back on. It gives you a reason how you came up with your number, not just out of the sky. So it makes sense to people. It really does.
It does. And more than anything, it makes sense to the property owner, right? Because that's what they're seeing. So if you can use that as an anchor point for your conversations, your research, your offers, et cetera, it makes more sense, which is great.
Exactly.
Anything else, guys?
Sellers... Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go, Chris.
No, I was going to say, to add to that, I mean, these sellers, in that second category, they don't live nearby a lot of times, that mom and dad or grandma and grandpa passed this down to them. And literally the only thing they see regarding their property is that tax county assessed value, is that tax statement once a year, and so it like, to your point, it does matter, because if you can focus the conversation with them around that number, and help them understand that that's anchoring the price point and the offer, like Aaron said, that we're going to be sending them, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Well, should we get into the juicy stuff, guys, and do a demo?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. By the way, folks, for anyone listening, I've just put the Deals Portal, our affiliate link, into the chat box there. So if you haven't signed up for AI Land Deals, use that link in there. That would be greatly appreciated. But Chris has got control of the screen, so let's have a look. And as we're going through this, guys, for anybody who's on Facebook, again, jump onto the link that I recently posted. Come and join us here on Zoom. But for anyone who's on the Zoom with us, as we're going through these demos, I'd love for you to maybe think about some of your properties that we can even give to Aaron and Chris to use as part of the demo as well. So we're happy to kind of, use some real cases here. But Chris, over to you. Walk us through the platform, how it works, what it looks like,
awesome.
How you make decisions with it.
Yeah, thank you. So when you log in, you essentially, with our platform, with AI Land Deals, you pick the states that you want to work in, or that you're currently working in. You can choose 3 states, 5 states, or 8 states. And essentially this software will show you the counties and zip codes, all of them within those states, that is recommending to market to based on this assessed to market value. So for demo purposes, the 3 states we've chosen, Wyoming, Arkansas, and Maine, when you log in, you'll go to the search feature here, and those 3 states, or your 3 states or 5 states, will get highlighted. Essentially, if you click on a state, Arkansas, for example, it'll take you into that state and the counties, all the counties within Arkansas. So there are 75 counties here in Arkansas. This first page you see is going to show you the first 25 counties. If you scroll to the bottom, you can go to the next 25, the next 25 as well to get all the counties in Arkansas. And you'll see these green, yellow, red pins on the map. So a green pin means that that county, the majority of the land parcels in that county have a market value that is significantly higher than the assessed value. A yellow pin means that the majority of land parcels in that county have a market value that's a decent amount higher than the assessed value. And of course, the red pins are counties that have a market value where the assessed values have caught up, or even sometimes the market value is even lower sometimes than those assessed values.
Interesting. I'm
So
sure you're going to cover this, but how are you determining that? Are you using like recorder files or assessor files to look at recent sales?
yeah, great question. So we have 26 million land parcels within this database that we get from assessor files, deed record files, and it has the assessed values on all 26 million parcels. Then we use Zillow, Redfin, MLS data, even AI to then essentially comp those 26 million parcels. We have the majority of them comped. And we're saying, okay, now we have an assessed value on a parcel and a market value on a parcel, and we can look at all of those within a county, within a zip code, and see those discrepancies and those margins of assessed to
Nice.
market value.
Nice. Hey, I'm just going to answer a
Yep,
question.
great question.
Shahar, I know you've just put in, why do we care about assessed values? We just spoke about that before, right? Assessed values, as we said, Shahar, you might not have been on the call a few minutes ago when we were talking about this, but we said assessed values is a data point. So it's an anchor that you can use to then analyze what's going on in that market. So assessed values are very, very important, even though a lot of educators out there tell you to ignore them. When you use it as the right anchor point to manage your conversations, your calculations, your analysis on, it becomes really important.
100%.
Sorry, Chris, continue.
Yep. Yeah, no, you're fine. So Baxter County, for
Chris,
example, here.
you keep freezing.
Yep. Oh, no.
Is that just on my side, guys, or is it?
No, I see it too.
Okay. Keep going, Chris, and if we need to, Aaron can jump in.
To a specific county, like Baxter County, for example, here, it's going to show you a couple of things. It'll show you the total number of land parcels within that county, so 12,930, and months. So keep in mind that these sell-through rates aren't determining and helping factor into the green, yellow, red pins. They're just an additional data point for you to see as a user to say, okay, I'm going to target some green counties with a high sell-through rate, right? Because you know that necessarily the property will, sell quicker than one that has a lower sell-through rate. Obviously, with sell-through rate, you're taking the number of sold properties divided by the number of properties that are for sale over that given time for 6 or 12 months. The closer you are to 100% means, the more properties likely to sell within that time frame. So you can take it a step further and you can say, okay, let's click on Baxter County here, and it's going to zoom in to all of the zip codes now within Baxter County. So let's just say you have, a marketing budget where you don't want to send the entire 12,000 leads to Baxter County. You want to, maybe send 2,000 or 3,000. I think the beauty of this software is you can dial in the exact zip codes that have the same exact color coordinated green, yellow, and red. So they mean the exact same thing. A green zip code means that the assessed value, the majority of those land parcels having a market value that's a lot higher than the assessed value, and so on and so forth. So you can come in here and you can get really targeted and say, okay, I'm just going to market to this zip code 72531, or maybe this zip code, as opposed to taking all of that marketing dollars, sending it to the entire county, and instead sending it to 3 zip codes within that county.
Love it.
So it is going to do that for every zip code, every county in the entire country. And so you'll get access to every state that you decide. So to AJ's initial point, why did we create this? It was to really, there's no solution for where do I market to. There's really no, it's the $1 million question in the industry. And so
Yeah.
this helps solve that, that $1 million question of where do I market to. So you can do things like, favorite different counties, favorite different zip codes. If you go back here to the search feature, you takes you back to your map with the states that you're in, and yeah, and then you can use this as kind of the initial step in your tool belt in this business, and then pick those counties and zip codes and go to AJ and say, okay, now we want to tailor our offers to these counties, to these zip codes, using that assessed to market value philosophy.
Yeah, love it. Really does help people to hyper focus their efforts and their energy. Because at the end of the day, you do need to know, like, where's the supply and demand, right? And supply and demand is not just about sell-through rates. It's also about it is about sell-through rates, but it's also about how many properties are available in there, because you might look at a county here and say, well, it's got a sell-through rate of 96%, for example, but there's only 200 properties available. So is that worth going into that area or not? And it might allow you to just do some more research on there to check, well, what types of properties are there? Because if it's all recreational land and that's not your strategy, well, then that would be one to stay away from, right? So this is where you can now combine your strategy with the research to now put that together and say, here's where I want to market, which I love. A couple of questions are there. So David's just asked, how can the sell-through rate for 6 and 12 months be the same?
So it essentially means that everything that is listed within 6 months is selling. So if it's 100% over a 6 month period, it's also 100%, and it'll be 100% over a 12-month period as well.
Yeah. Awesome. That's great. So tell me, guys, what benefit has this made to your business? What are some of the tangible things that you guys have noticed by implementing this in your marketing?
I think by far, I mean, the biggest help this has been to us is our acceptance rate for our offers. So we're at around a 20% acceptance rate. So we try to send out 10 offers a week, and we'll get 2 of those accepted. And that's been over almost 2-year period, right? And I think if you poll people, I think it's probably 1 to 5% acceptance rate for most people. So I think 20 is absolutely fantastic.
That's phenomenal, Aaron. Absolutely. And what difference has it made to your marketing efforts? So how are you guys doing marketing at the moment?
So we do 80% mailers, 20% text.
Yep.
We're considering getting away from text since it's been a little stale of late. Maybe trying ringless voicemail is kind of a thing we're going to consider. But I mean, we've just been more strategic with our dollars after this. We're not just throwing spaghetti against the wall and seeing if it sticks, for the first year or so. So it's just helped us maximize our ROI because we all have budgets, so if you can maximize your ROI, I mean, that's just huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Jean, no problems that you have to leave at 3:30. Yes, we'll get the recording out. Mario, I like spaghetti, throwing spaghetti at walls. And look, there's nothing wrong, guys. Here's the thing. If you've got the budget and you do want to test an entire market and just kind of throw a few different things out there and see what comes back, like, there's still nothing wrong with that, right? But when you've got a smaller budget, you want higher acceptance rates, you want to really get hyper focused, this is the kind of tool that really helps you with that. And just to your point as well, Aaron, like, we've done a lot over the last 6 months with cold calling, and we still get a lot of leads from a cold call perspective, but what we're really noticing is the ability for the real estate investor to close those leads is really hard. Now, that might be for a couple of reasons, right? The things that you guys started with. They're in a market where everybody knows what their property is worth. They're in a market where the assessed values have caught up to the actual values themselves. So therefore, having to negotiate becomes really, really difficult. So those things are what gets in the way for people to have that conversion there, right? So what I love about what you guys are doing is we're still doing cold calling, but we do a lot in the direct mail space as well. So in direct mail, if we're able to do that hand in hand and say, all right, we've called all these people based upon this criteria that you guys are helping out with the app. Here's the people that didn't respond. We still know that these are good areas. And now we double down with some offers in direct mail. Really going to maximize the marketing spend, really going to help for a hyper-focused message as well. So let me ask that as my next question. How do you use the intel from the platform to get your message in your marketing even more hyper-focused, if at all?
Yeah, I think one thing you can do, they talk about that, if you're going to attack, let's just say you want to go after major metros, right? And I've always been taught, I've always heard that if you're going to go into major metros, it takes a lot of marketing dollars because it's so competitive, because so many people are doing it. So with this, a lot of these major metros are likely going to be, deemed red counties because the assessed values there are going to have caught up to the market values. But what you can do is you can take a major metro like, Maricopa County, Arizona, and you can look at a zip code level, and you'll see that there are going to be some green zip codes within those major metros like Maricopa, maybe in like Tonopah.
Let's do that, Chris. And the reason I'm going to say let's do it is Jason asked the question, do we want to target the green? And Jason does Arizona.
Perfect.
So let's open it up again and have a look, and let's use that as an example to kind of go through and look at how do you use the system to help with those major metro areas to really find that. And Shahar, yes, there is a cost for using the system, and I'll put my my link in here again, guys. So AI land deals. But what I will say,
sorry.
No, go, Aaron.
I was going to say the green is great, Jason. You just want to focus on all the greens. Absolutely right.
Yep. And I think Chris is just getting Maricopa County up.
Yep.
Steve has asked, what is the add to cart for?
So yeah, so good question. So we do have the ability, if you wanted to, filter a list, if you wanted to, purchase the list directly from here, you have that ability as well. So the add to cart is to add those land records to your cart to then purchase that data. We really built this software as that mapping feature to show you those good areas to market to. Sorry, I'm getting this pulled up, but you do have the ability also to purchase those leads.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Chris. And guys, like there's one option, but obviously if you're working with us at Supercharged Offers, you can use the AI land deals as your research tool. Come to us with your dedicated zip codes now and be like, hey guys, here's where I want to market. So using it just as the research tool is a really cost-effective way to narrow down those markets. We can then pull it, skip trace it, DNC check it, get it mailed, do all that stuff for you.
Exactly. Yep.
All righty, Jason, this is your backyard, my friend.
So Arizona. So if we go over here, Maricopa County, and we click on that county, so let me back up a step. If we go to Maricopa County, you can see it's a red county, right? It's a major metro. It's a red county, but if you click on it, it's gonna take you to, there's 140 zip codes in Maricopa County, but it's gonna take you to those zip codes. And now, like, some of these, maybe like an outskirt zip code here at 5027, or I'm sure there's, some in Tonopah as well. It'll really narrow down the green, the yellow, the red zip codes within Maricopa County. So instead of sending, I think it's at 136,000 leads and parcels of land, in Maricopa County, you can say, okay, I'm going to save a bunch of marketing dollars, and I'm going to, just focus on some of these, green or even yellow zip codes within Maricopa County. So it allows you to, save a lot of, marketing dollars, whether you're doing, neutral letters or blind offers or whatever that looks like, and not, sending it to the entire county, and just picking very specific zip codes where maybe the assessed values have not caught up to those market values.
Yeah, let's stick on this for a second, guys, because I can see something here in those two examples, right? So we've got one zip code that's got 407, another one that's got 149, 12 months sell-through rate in the 70s. Not too bad. Not flash, but not too bad. Last 6 months, it's dropped down into the 20s. What do you think is the intel behind that you would use to either say, yes, I'm going to market to that county, or no, I'm not?
Yeah, so I'll be honest with you. We put this in here because so many coaching programs talk about ratios, right? They talk about use that for your, to determine what counties and zip codes. Aaron and I looked, and we have done 8 out of our 10 biggest deals to date, like over 3 years, have come from green counties. 8 out of the 10. And 3 of those 8 were six-figure profit deals. So, with that being said, we also looked at the sell-through rates with those counties. There's been a handful of those top 8 counties that had a sell-through rate of, 10, 20%. And there's still deals to be had in there regardless. So for my business, for our business, we don't take that as gospel per se. We put this in there just so you can, if you have a dozen zip codes or green counties that you're looking at, maybe you want to start with ones that have a higher sell-through rate. So for these 2 examples, to your point, AJ, maybe properties just take a little longer to sell in those zip codes. Maybe they need a little bit longer than 6 months to actually turn, turn by turn in those specific zip codes. And that maybe helps you tailor, your offer. That maybe helps you tailor your close of escrow date or things like that. So it's just more data points to think about.
Yeah, and more just an awareness of what's going on in that market, right? Because then if you're starting to do things like talking to private lenders, so if you've got the right property and you can say, look, we can see for this zip code that at 12 months, things are selling really, really well, but at 6 months, we're going to have to hold this property likely for a period of time. That can again form part of your negotiation with a private lender if you want to take down that deal, right? So again, data points, guys. I always say the thing with data, whatever the data is with what we're looking at here, data always tells a story.
Yep.
It always
Totally.
tells a story.
Totally.
And it's just what parts of that story you find are important or not important in order to make your decisions around stuff too. Jason's just asked, well, they've got a couple of things in here about monthly subscriptions, and Jason has asked, what makes it green? Is it just sell-through rate?
No, it's not sell-through rate actually at all. Sell-through rate is just an additional piece for you as the user. What makes it green is we look at the majority of the land parcels in that county and zip code, and the majority of them have a market value that is significantly higher than assessed value, like 150% plus higher than assessed value. So the green, yellow, red color coding is solely based on the assessed to market value margins.
And what you're really thinking of there, guys, and I said to it at the beginning, is what's the variance? How big is or how short is that variance, so that and you can start to predict a little bit more of spread in the deal.
Yeah, I like to say like the meat on the bone, right? Like if there's meat on the bone right from the get-go, like real estate, we all know you make the money on the buy, the purchase price, not the sale price. So you get it at a deep discount and you already have that built-in meat on the bone. Like that's where you're going to win and win at a high rate, multiple times.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Shahaz just put the question, and I think he's answered it himself, but just so you guys can take this. The idea is that if a lot of the properties have a higher market value than their assessed value, this should indicate that the market is hot. Is this correct? And why would this be a better indicator than the sold or for sale ratio?
So it doesn't necessarily mean that the market is hot. It means that the assessed values, those green counties, have not caught up to current market value trends. So I don't know if I'd classify that as hot. It means that when you start talking to sellers in those areas, again, if you have a seller that wants market value for their property, there's not a deal there. It is, and we all have those. I would say for us, 60% or so of properties we come across that we've talked to leads, they want somewhere close to market value. There's no margin there, but it's more so, for the seller that, doesn't necessarily know that they see that taxable, the assessed value once a year. It means, like Aaron said, that there's more margin there, because if you can gear the conversation towards the assessed value of your property is $20,000, I'm going to send you an offer relatively close to that $20,000 plus or minus mark. There's built-in margin there because the market value is higher.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it, guys. Got a few comments here. So yes, Jason, the market variance does demonstrate value increase year over year. And yes, Mario, it definitely helps in negotiation as well. Now I can see Diane has just joined us. Diane, I know you're a little late to the party, but that's okay. Good to see you. And we have recorded this. Guys, is there any other, Aaron or Chris, is there any other hints or tips you want to give people as to how you guys are using the data and the platform?
So I mean, Aaron and I literally will focus, we do all of our marketing efforts on green and yellow counties and zip codes. I mean, we use that and we base and we have that intertwined in our conversations with sellers. I think for us, the other tip I would say is that we're talking to every seller. I know that's not the school of thought for everybody, but if you're actually talking to every seller, you can bring that assessed value piece into your conversation woven into it from the get-go. Maybe not from the get, but maybe on call 2 or call 3. Call 1 is maybe building the relationship, but you can bring in that assessed value, piece to that property with the seller. And so we're talking to every single lead that comes across our desk.
Nice. I personally love that because I always say that the one thing, and if you follow anybody like Ajay Sharma, Jen Wei, all these people out there that are talking about sales, it's don't not have the conversation with the seller, even if they're coming from a very different place and there might not be a deal at this point. As you've said, build the relationship, state the facts, keep the conversation going, right? Always keep that line of communication open, because you just never know, right, when that might come up. So yeah, that's really good. Jason's saying, yeah, could you walk through a use case? Have you guys got a use case of maybe a deal that you guys have done where you went into the system, looked at the right information, did some marketing, and that yielded itself into a deal?
So I don't personally have a use case per se, because the software isn't meant to grain all the way down to like the specific parcel. I guess my best use case would be, like I said a little bit ago, that eight out of our 10 biggest deals that we've done, and we've done over 100, have come from green counties and zip codes. Because we're looking at more of like a general aerial view, as opposed to like getting down to the nitty-gritty of each individual parcel.
Yeah. And again, I just getting that macro view at a certain level is where the intel's at, right? So that's fantastic. Let's open it up to the group. Guys, we've had some really good comments. Yeah, Jason, sounds like you use it up front, find the green, market and go. Is that the use case? Yes, Jason, you're exactly right. Stick into the green, you're good to go. Yeah.
100%.
Let's open it up for any other questions, guys. What's some questions or comments or things that you want to pick Aaron and Chris's brain on? Mario.
Hi, guys. Just to verify, you said that I have it right in mind. The green dot shows me that I have higher market price. Is there a percentage that you say, okay, market, for example, the assessed value of the county is 20K? And do you say, okay, the percentage is plus 100%, or how do I figure it out? How much is the spread in between market value and assessed value? For example, in the green.
Yeah, so green counties are going to be, the majority of parcels within those counties are going to be like 1.5 times, right? And up. The market value over assessed value. Yeah, okay. The yellow is going to be between 1.1 to 1.5, and then red is going to essentially be that it's congruent or lower than. Yep.
Perfect. Thanks. Because it helps me a lot to get a better idea what it means. So thank you.
Yep. Absolutely, Mario. And, Shahaz just asked the same question. Can you repeat the meaning of the colors? So Shahar, does that answer your question about the colors? Yeah, thanks. Okay, awesome. Jason, great question. How often is the data refreshed? Awesome question.
Once a month.
Yep. Go ahead, Aaron. Sorry.
Yeah, data is refreshed once a month. And one thing about the red counties, red zip codes, we're not saying you can't find a deal there. Obviously, that's possible, but it's just being more strategic with our money, right? That's the whole name of the game.
Love it.
Yep,
Awesome.
every 30 days. Yep, every 30 days that it gets refreshed, both sides. Anything that gets sold or subdivided or whatever, the data gets refreshed from the county data as well as the comps and things like that. Obviously, market values and things change, month over month, 6 months at a time, quarter at a time. It gets updated once a month.
Yeah, that's awesome, guys.
Sorry.
No, go for it. If you guys
Yeah,
can
I
see
know
the questions in the chat
you're
box,
doing
go
so
for it.
good with the comments. I'm not even focused on them. Then I finally populated up and I almost cut you off. I'm sorry. Go ahead, AJ.
So Shahaz just asking, what's the cost of the system?
Great question. So for 3 states, $149 for the month. For 5 states, $199 for the month, and for 8 states, $289 for the month.
Okay, that's actually really reasonable in terms of how fast you can then do that market research, which I think is great. Miriam's asking, is it for all states?
All 50 states. Yep.
Excellent.
Can we
Fantastic.
switch states?
Good question.
Can you switch states?
Yeah, good question. Yes and no. So, we want to keep the integrity of the software, meaning, we said, Aaron and I spoke about this at length. We said initially that, you don't want somebody to sign up for 3 states, find all the green and yellow, green, yellow county zip codes, switch to the next 3 and go so on and so forth, right? We want to keep the integrity. So if you sign up for 3 states and you wanted to upgrade at any time to 5 states, you can pick 5 new states. So that's why I
Love it.
say yes and no. Does that make sense?
That's really fair, Chris. It's really fair. I've got an interesting question now that you said it's all 50 states. How are you guys getting around non-disclosure states when you're trying to pull the sales stats to then look at the difference between assessed value and what things are selling for?
Yeah, great question. We do look at MLS data. So if there was a mortgage on it or something, and it will show what it actually sold for, we take that into account. A lot of times if there is no true sold number, we're taking there's an AI algorithm, right? It's going to look at sold comps first, right? Sold comps that are very similar to the parcel. Second, if there are no sold comps or if it's a non-disclosure state, to your point, it's going to look at for sale, right? And it's going to take the last for sale price and discount it, 5 to 15%, figuring that a property is not going to sell for the exact price it was listed for.
Yeah. We tend to do the same. So in non-disclosure states, we'll look at current on market and reduce it by about 15 to 20%.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. All good. Some more questions in the chat box here, guys. So David has asked, fellas, how many mail pieces are you sending every month? And how many pieces? So what's your conversion rate per deal? And acreage range?
Sorry, I thought Aaron. So we send about 2,500 a week, about 10,000 a month mail. Plus we do send some text messages. We actually do not target acreage ranges. We've tried it in the past here and there in different counties. And it works. We don't discriminate against large acreage, small acreage. We'll do infill lots, big acreage, medium-sized acreage. We'll do it all. How many pieces are you seeing per deal? If we try to send about 10 to 15 offers a week of those mailers, and we're getting 20% under contract pretty consistently.
That's great. I love that you're sending 10,000 a month, guys, because it is a numbers game. Even when you've got the intel that you guys have got, it's still a numbers game, right? You've got to keep that pipeline of leads starting to flow through in order to have that conversion rate there. And guys, Corey Ann's just popped a link in the chat box as well. So if you want to use AI land deals to do that research and start to get to that point that you want to mail out 2,500, we can help run the data, get the analysis ready for you, get the offers out, and do all that mailing for you as well. So David's asked just a deeper question. So how many mailers per closed deal on average? Your close rate's about 20%, didn't you say, Aaron?
Correct. Yeah, our acceptance rate. And then we end up closing about 65% of those deals that we get under contract. and then the rest just expire with our contract. You know, we're not at risk. You know, that's the great thing about wholesaling is if you don't sell it, that's okay. You just lost the marketing dollars, which isn't that much.
Yeah. And are you guys sending out blind offers on neutral letters and then converting it to an offer?
We only do neutral letters. We tried blind offers a few times, a couple
Yeah.
small sample sizes, probably not an accurate, and we could have went harder, but neutral letters were working. So if it's
Yep.
not broke, why fix it? And we're good at talking with people, and we've established that's a strong point for us. So we need
Yep.
to take advantage of that.
Awesome. So you're sending out the neutral letters, getting a response rate, and then out of those responses, you've got a 20% close rate.
Yep,
Correct.
exactly.
Phenomenal.
No,
Yeah.
acceptance rate. 65% close rate.
Inga's actually taking some
Hi,
notes as
Inga.
she's talking there.
Hi there.
Awesome. So David, not sure what I'm asking. Would you share your letters to deal ratio? So yeah, it's really just it's that 20%, David. But David, are you asking more about how many offers they're then sending per week then to get that 20%?
No. Can you hear me? I'm asking like
Yep.
of what is your ROAS? Like how many letters are you sending per month? And out of your 10,000 letters, how many deals do you get? You know, it's internal to your business what your lead conversion is. I don't really know what that means, and I don't want to ask, but what I'm saying is of how many letters you're sending, how many letters does it take you to convert to a closed deal on average? Is it 3,000 letters, 5,000 letters, 7,000 letters?
To a closed deal, I would say about one a week, so 2,500 letters.
Okay. Thank you.
So I'll break it down. We send about 2,500 letters a week. We have about a 0.8% response rate, which is like give or take 20. Out of those 20, maybe 5 are not great properties that, we don't necessarily want to market. We don't want to make an offer on. Out of the 15, we're probably going to get 2.5 or so under contract. And then we're going to sell, 1.5 or so of those. So on average, I would say about 2,500 letters a week gets us a closed deal a week.
That's really great ratio. Most what I hear from a lot of people is they're at 4,000 or so. So that's pretty respectable. Good job.
Great question. Yeah, thank you.
And are you scrubbing your data
just put
for
the link in there
landmark
again.
properties? Sorry, last question.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. It's a hot topic right now. I know there's a lot of different thoughts and programs out there. I'll be honest, guys, I like a good landlocked property. I mean, if it's a decent property and it's landlocked, I mean, we have a fair amount of landlocked properties that we've acquired that sell really well. I mean, we love neighbor letters. Big fan of neighbor letters. I know AJ does as well. And landlocked stuff sells to neighbors. It really does. So
The
I
guys,
do
if
not
you want to
scrub
send
those
all your
out.
neighbor letters out, buyerfinder.io does it all for you. Literally 6 clicks and 60 seconds. You can get all of your marketing out to all of the neighbors and cash buyers in the area in an instant. And I'm with you, Chris. Some of the best deals that we've done over the years have actually been landlocked properties that we were able to solve a problem for the property, make that property usable again, or sell it to the neighbor. And we've done heaps of those deals. So when we're scrubbing out data, we tend to, David, look at like what's an 80% probability of road access and above. So we're trying to take out the ones that are going to be literally in the middle of nowhere. But again, if you're using this tool to really narrow down some of those things, you're going to have a higher likelihood of that property potentially being sought after.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
We're with you.
All right.
Love landlocked.
Yeah. And so it's so good to hear you guys say that, because it's, again, the whole vacant land space is, there's always a flavor of the month of what people are leaning in towards, what they're leaning away from, etc. And, you know, when we first started, landlocked properties were like, heck yeah, let's get going on those. And people are now not must have road access. And it's like, yeah, but if you're going after something that's got road access and everybody else is as well, you're actually reducing your chances of making that deal happen, right? If you're willing to go after the deals that are a little bit more difficult and approach them with an open mindset about what could happen on that deal on the exit side, you're going to get more deals.
Absolutely. Yep.
Sorry.
Landlocked properties, estates and trusts. We love those too. If you can
Yep.
figure out those and do affidavit of heirships or, you know, partition by sales, and we won't get into that on this call, but yeah, like AJ said, you try to be a solution, and you know, those are the ones that if you can be a solution for the difficult properties, there's way more margin because you can get them so much cheaper. And if you get them right, and you can sell them and make a hefty profit.
Yep. So if you guys identify the areas through the AI land deals, you can come to us at Supercharged and say, I want to know any quick claim deeds that have happened in there. Obviously, you can put landlocked properties in there if you want, but a quick claim deed, intra-family transfer, where it's been a transaction that's $100 or less, because that's often been an interfamily transfer as well. Trusts, all of those things are where, you know, often there's probate issues or affidavit of heirship that you can simply just fix that problem, make it a deal. So there's some really good things we can do there, guys, around data to help you with that as well.
Love it.
Awesome.
Love it.
Alrighty, guys, we're at the top of the hour, and I am always interested in giving people back a few more minutes of time. Any other final questions for Aaron or Chris, guys, before we wrap up?
AJ, I'm going to put a demo link in the chat, and I'm just
Yep.
going to have them refer Supercharged offers so that you'll get credit for it. So I'm gonna
Awesome,
put,
Aaron.
it's a free demo. We'll go more in depth.
Fantastic. We'll wait for that to
Yeah,
go in
guys,
the
if you want
chat.
to learn more, if you want to learn more,
Yeah.
book a demo with us. We'll jump on a call, 45 minutes, an hour, get to know you and show you, dive in deeper than we did on the call. So
Love it, love it. And if Corianne, if you just want to put the link in there for people to book a call with us, if they do want us, once they've done that research with AI land deals, there we go. If you want to book a call with our team, guys, to help you with any cold calling, direct mail, digital marketing out to these specific areas that are the green zones, we can certainly help you with that as well. Awesome. Alrighty, guys. Aaron, Chris, congratulations on what you built. I think it's amazing. It's definitely, you've found a niche in the market where the $1 million question gets asked daily. Where should I market to, right? So the fact that you guys have been able to put something together to help answer that question is just brilliant. So congratulations, guys. Thank you for coming on today and giving us the tour and the overview of everything to do with your platform. We really love it. And we look forward to seeing everyone next time.
AJ, thank you so much. We really appreciate it very, very much.
You're welcome, guys. Thanks, team. See you all soon.